Welcome to another episode of Faith Explorations, the podcast where we delve deep into the teachings and principles of Christianity and embark on a transformative journey through the realms of faith and spirituality. I'm your host, Kenneth Garcia. In episode 101, we have a topic that's intrigued and captivated people for centuries: sowing love, reaping joy, God's view on sex. Since the Bible is primarily concerned with God, human beings, and God's plan of salvation as revealed in the life and death of Jesus Christ, it shouldn't come as much of a shock that it addresses sexuality at length. But our exploration doesn't end here. For more insights that can enrich your journey of faith, be sure to visit us at BibleKeeper.com. So without further ado, let's dive in. God created male and female humans to have sexual relationships. Thus, it stands to reason that the biblical narrative of creation, fall, and redemption would also involve sexuality. Some of the things in the Bible may even shock you. Here's what the Bible says about sex, from reproduction to sexual pleasure. To kick things off, let's address the fundamental question: is sex important to God? Well, the answer is a resounding yes. God designed sex. The first of God's commands to man is reign over creation and be fruitful and multiply. Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 to 28. In other words, dominate the globe and engage in copious amounts of sexual activity. Within the bounds of a committed marriage, it is encouraged to enjoy God-given sexuality and romantic love. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 4 speaks as much. Marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure. Christians often believe that God only approves of sexual activity between spouses. One of the most blatant and unambiguous taboos in Christianity is committing sex outside of marriage. People usually resort to "you shall not commit adultery." Exodus chapter 20, verse 14, one of the 10 commandments. Contrary to popular belief, adultery does not entail that two people who are not married are sleeping together. Sex is a gift God gives to married people for their mutual enjoyment. It's in the Bible. Proverbs chapter 5 verses 18 to 19 says, "Let your manhood be a blessing. Rejoice in the wife of your youth. Let her charms and tender embrace satisfy you. Let her love alone fill you with delight." Now, here's the interesting part. The Bible has some surprising insights about sex. According to 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verses 3 to 4, a husband should allow his own wife to use her marital rights, and the wife should do the same for her own husband. Apostle Paul admonished his congregation not to deprive one another of sex, save maybe by agreement for a little time, so that they may devote yourselves to prayer. The relationship between sexuality and procreation is evident in the Bible without any effort. The Mosaic Law contains the most comprehensive list of forbidden sexual interactions. Leviticus chapter 18 prohibits having sexual relations and sexual desires with close relatives, those of the same sex and animals. The book of Song of Songs, particularly the 4th and 5th chapters, details sexual love inside marriage. God's holy people must flee from sexual immorality, since all other sins a person commits are outside the body. But whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. In conclusion, to break God's design in order to lay hold of the pleasures of creation is not only foolish, it is a rejection of the pleasures that God intends for us to enjoy. Sex outside of marriage mocks the Creator's intent and places human desire above God's wisdom. Christians, however, can err and receive God's forgiveness. God's scandalous grace covers all of our transgressions, and He lavishes it upon us. To call sexual sin desirable and wickedness virtuous, however, is quite another matter. Christians, true Christians, must seek to live in accordance with God's plans and rejoice in the benefits He bestows upon His people. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Faith Explorations. We hope this discussion has shed some light on the complex and often misunderstood topic of sex in the context of faith. If you enjoyed today's discussion and want to explore more topics related to spirituality, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, and visit us at BibleKeeper.com for more resources that will enrich your faith journey. Join us next time as we continue to explore matters of faith and spirituality. Until then, may God bless you abundantly.